It's been 1 week since the incident between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton captivated all the headlines in Formula 1 during the British Grand Prix. This video isn't about telling you who's right and who's wrong and whose fault was for the incident. Personally, I believe it was a racing incident. Both drivers, who are at the top of the sport, not willing to give an inch to each other, these things can happen, and we are very thankful that the safety that we have in Formula 1 allows these drivers to push to the absolute limit. And when something like this happens in an incident, they do survive and they are pretty much okay. But the side I'm looking at this from is from what I seen last week and through the next couple of days after the race had happened. It was the social media reaction to pretty much blame who was at fault for the crash. And the way I see it is that we can all learn something from this. When I draw on personal experiences from other sports, I'm a massive MotoGP fan, and from what we've seen in MotoGP in 2015 at Sepang between Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez, on track was personal, of course. They were, things get said in press conferences and it spilled out on track, and what happened. But the hangover from that was the reaction of fan bases. So it was toxic in MotoGP for months. It was not a nice place. Yes, it got all the publicity and the headlines, but that's not what our sport was about in MotoGP. And seeing such negativity, even you see a little bit of it now creeping in, 6 years later, is something that is not right for motorsport. It's not the spirit of motorsport. It's all about respect, because at the end of the day, these athletes, as we like to call them now, are risking their lives racing each other for all the glory. And from what I've seen from Verstappen and Hamilton fans was quite... It did draw me back to Malaysia 2015 with MotoGP, in the sense that it was people tweeting Hamilton fans, people actually tweeting Lewis Hamilton themselves, commented on posts, really nasty things, and it's not going to achieve anything. It just creates a real negative press around the sport. I know we had a fantastic race, which thankfully took most of the headlines from that. It was a brilliant 8th win for Lewis Hamilton around Silverstone, and thankfully, like I say, Max Verstappen was okay. But the fallout from fan bases is something that I think really needs to have a look at in terms of social media, because social media, we need to remember, it might seem like the whole world's opinion is on there, but it's really just a snapshot of what has just happened. You get both sides, and I didn't like seeing Verstappen fans attacking Hamilton. I didn't like seeing Hamilton fans say, well, that's what Verstappen gets for not willing to back out of an incident. I don't like seeing that at all. I'm a fan of both drivers. I love how they do their business. I love the way Verstappen's just very calm, cool, and can just aggressively take something by the scruff of the neck when he needs to. I love his qualifying laps. I love Lewis Hamilton's determination for how he just grinds out results and never gives up. I think it's this season we are having one of the greatest title fights in Formula 1 in modern era. This doesn't come around a lot and often, so we need to appreciate what we are seeing. And to have such negativity building up to the next race in Hungary, I hope that some fans will realise that this is racing. Things can happen. We've seen it in the past with Alain Prost, Ayrton Senna, Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher. We have seen the incidents. We've seen the controversy, and while it might be good for the press to get headlines from and to draw attention to the sport, it is the reactions of fan bases that can paint the picture in the wrong way for people that are new to the sport. It's kind of like a football mentality, I would say. It kind of comes across as like a lot of hatred for someone. That shouldn't be it. And I just hope, if anything happens later down this season, if there's another incident or a clash or something happens that's controversial on track, I hope it can be looked at differently and we can learn from this, because we have a fantastic sport, and I would like to think that there's respect. I think that we are in for one of the best seasons in Formula 1 history if it keeps going the way it is. So let me know your comments below. What's your thoughts on the rest of the season? Who picks up the baton in Hungary? Will Mercedes continue this strong resurgence that they've had from the British Grand Prix? Will Red Bull strike back? It'll be certainly interesting to see. Make sure to subscribe to Christ F1 for more content, and I will see you again for the next video.